What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's reaction video is 1980s things that are not socially acceptable today. Interesting. So technically, this should be stuff which we've never experienced because it's not acceptable.
Yeah.
We were born in 99, so we grew up in the 2000s. So if it's 1980s things which aren't acceptable today, we in theory should be kind of like, oh, that's odd.
Yeah, or we might know of them because it may be like today as in like the last 10 years or 5 years.
Or it may just be not that common. It may actually be a thing. And I mean, we're pretty laid back, aren't we? So a lot of the things we don't actually care about, if that makes sense. Like, if something's not socially acceptable, doesn't mean we actually care if people do it or not. We're pretty laid back. So it's going to be interesting to see what we think of these.
It will be.
Smash the like button, guys. Smash the subscribe button. Would really appreciate it. 64% are not subscribed.
Oh, it's gone down.
But it's gone down. That's the positive. The bad news is only 36% are subscribed.
That sounds so good.
So smash that subscribe button. We would really appreciate it. Check out Patreon. The Patreon link is in the description. Exclusive content on there. We do a monthly Q&A, giveaway. Movies go on there as well. So check it out. Right, you ready?
I'm ready.
1980s things that are not socially acceptable. Let us know something you missed from the 1980s below. And if you weren't born from it and you know something of what you think, oh, I might have enjoyed that, let us know in the comments below what we got.
40 years ago, things were very different. MTV was just catching on and Atari was still very popular.
Okay.
We didn't have all the constant
Pac-Man
news in our face, but our social media was hanging out with friends and family. Some of the things we used to do would probably get you arrested now.
Arrested?
Safety standards in cars were pretty well absent. The regulations were more like mild suggestions rather than rules or laws.
Mild suggestions.
Nobody wore seatbelts, and many people just wondered why they were even there.
Wow.
As a kid, you could sit in the middle of the bench seat up front and control the radio.
Wait, what?
If you wanted to see over the tall deck.
Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, have you not seen it? Like, I've seen it in movies.
I've probably seen it. I've never clocked that there's a middle seat. I've never actually clocked that there's a middle seat in a car before. Ever front, obviously, wasn't in the back.
Yeah.
That is I probably have seen it in movies, but I've never clocked it until he's just said it. That's quite mad, actually.
Seat up front and control the radio.
I remember in The Simpsons,
if you wanted to see
baby
over
in the middle in the car seat.
The tall deck,
I've never
you
clocked
just simply stand up. Heck, Dad may have even placed you in his lap so you could help him steer the car.
Did you ever do that? With like anyone, your mum or anyone like that? No, that's right. That's what did your mum? Did your mum ever do that?
No, my sister let me. No, the first time I ever was in the steering wheel, was my sister let me drive her car in the car park when I was like maybe 11 or 12.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I mean, that's quite brave. Wow.
It was in a car park.
That's still quite brave. 11 or 12. What?
That's quite good.
I remember my dad used to do that to me on the Jovi estate where you get onto the estate where he lives. As soon as you got onto the actual estate bit, just somewhere, he used to sit there and he'd go, wee! I remember that.
You wouldn't get away with that now.
It was also common to see kids just packed in the back of a station wagon or maybe in the bed of a pickup truck. Car seats were available for purchase, but rarely would you ever see one in a car.
Wow.
If your car was packed with kids, then it was usually easier just to leave them in the car and then go into the grocery store and shop.
Oh, I used to love that.
Most people just left the windows rolled down and the kids would be just fine. Kids were very active, and it wasn't uncommon just to tell your parents you were going outside to play, and then you would disappear for most of the day, if not all of it. It was always easy to tell where all the neighborhood kids were just by glancing at someone's yard and seeing the collection of bicycles. If that wasn't seen, then most of the kids would knock on their friend's door to see if they were home and if they wanted to come out and play. If you went around riding bikes, then you certainly didn't wear a helmet.
Yeah, helmets.
People couldn't even see
I mean, to be fair, depending what age you are, I feel like probably 12 to 16, 17 probably don't wear helmets.
I think like 4, 5, 6, 7, probably because your parents make you.
Yeah.
But you don't tend to go out on your bike at 4 and 5 without your parent anyway.
Teenage years, helmet definitely disappears.
Stores to buy, and if you could, they wouldn't have even wanted them. Same thing with elbow pads and knee pads. Most kids just thought it was cool to show off your latest injury or skinned knee. If you happen to be too far from home too late, then no problem. Find one of the payphones that were all over the place, and if you didn't change, then that wasn't a problem either. Your parents knew when they got the collect call.
You have a collect call from.
I'm at the community center.
Do you accept charges?
Your mom and dad would just come and pick you up and load up the bikes if you had them. Otherwise, your parents just expected you to be home by the time the street lights came on.
Good curfew time.
If
She
you would like
likes.
to make money
She
online
likes
in
in
a
a
few
second.
spare hours.
Smoking was still very big, and parents smoked in the home and in the car with kids still in it. Secondhand
Yeah, that's
smoke
old
was just
It's
something
illegal
that
now.
everyone had to live
Yeah.
with, and most
Well,
people weren't
In
worried.
Jersey, it is.
Not in your home, I don't think.
No, it's illegal to smoke in the car with somebody under 18.
Car is, but like even back then you could do it in the office and stuff
Mhm.
out, which is different
Shops, the
times.
restaurants. And...
Yeah, different times.
About exposing it to kids. It wasn't
Come up
uncommon
to
to see people
cool.
just smoking away in restaurants, and most of them probably didn't even have smoking sections. Things were so different back then that there were cigarette machines in front of some stores and
That's
restaurants.
mad, isn't it?
Wow.
No ID check or anything, just insert the quarters and pull the knob.
I have
It
seen
was
that
also
in
a time
toilet.
when kids would run.
A long time ago. when I
What,
was a kid.
cigarettes?
Remember when I was.
I know
a
you
kid.
get like
It may not have
other
worked.
forms of protection, let's say, for
Yeah.
YouTube.
It may not have worked. It may have just been.
Oh, an
an old
old
box
school one,
on
isn't it?
there.
Oh, wow. There
But
you
it
go.
was definitely one on there.
Wow.
To the convenience store and pick up some essentials. Sometimes those essentials were cigarettes, and all we needed was a note from mom or dad and a blank check.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Considering how most people were about smoking, it's not surprising that alcohol would be much different. Alcohol wasn't something that kids enjoyed, but I'm sure many tasted it just to see what it was like when parents offered it. Being a latchkey kid was perfectly fine. Parents were busy working and doing other things, so it was quite common to see kids at home by themselves or watching younger siblings until they got home.
Yeah, it's definitely less
Parents
out of
just
it now,
thought
isn't it?
if kids were old enough to dial the important numbers or 911, they were responsible enough to be at home alone.
Okay.
Okay.
Physical punishment was also
Yeah, well, you definitely can't get away with physical punishment anymore. You shouldn't be doing it. I was going to say you could get away with it back then as well, because there weren't like, I don't think there were child services and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it was never like, oh my god, the neighbour might dob me in because my 11-year-old stayed at home or something like that.
You'd probably find as well that your neighbour probably looked out for them.
Yeah, definitely. Nowadays it'll be like, if anyone found out about it, it's like, oh, we could
Yeah,
get
it's
dobbed
not-
in here. And
Even
then obviously
like
there's
teenagers, it's
consequences.
kind of like a risky. There's that blanket age where it's not.
Especially with the schools checking it. It's not worth the risk, I don't think, anymore.
No.
And physical punishment, obviously not.
something that was viewed very differently. Paddling or swats from parents, family, or teachers was considered completely reasonable if the kids misbehaved or were
Mad
disrespectful.
they did it at school. It's mad,
Crazy.
isn't it?
Punishment was
I don't know
usually
how teachers
swift
got away with
and
that.
painful. Peanut allergies certainly were around back then, but kids still brought peanut butter sandwiches and peanut products to school.
Can we not do that
No,
now?
not
And
supposed
other
to. Our
allergy
school-
bans
Wow.
weren't a thing. EpiPens didn't hit the market until 1987, so if you had an allergy, you just had to hope you didn't die.
Oh, that's mad brutal.
If you were a teenager in the 1980s, then you didn't have Instagram or Snapchat. Your social media was hanging out at the mall with your friends. You could do a
Simple.
Must have
little
been much
shopping,
better back then,
eating,
that
and
kind of thing.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, there is advantages to social media platforms, but there were simpler times when everyone weren't glued to it. You know what I mean?
There's a phone sight.
A lot of phone sites, simpler times. But don't get me wrong, there is advantage. I'm not trying to say social media is awful. It has its negatives, a lot of negatives, but it also has a few positives as well. But yeah, simpler times. That's the way to put it.
and a whole lot of hanging out. Parents would allow their kids to roam the mall by themselves for hours. Kids may still go to the mall today, but not quite as much.
I used to go when I
If
was a
they
kid.
hang out there all day now, they might accuse you of loitering.
Okay.
Chickenpox parties were something that many people
What?
had long before there was a vaccine. Most
So
people
everyone
felt
can
it was
get it.
best just to get chickenpox out of the way so you wouldn't have to worry about it later.
Fair enough.
It's worse if
If
you're an
one
adult.
kid started showing
Shingles.
signs, then it was time to gather every other kid who hadn't gotten it for a good old-fashioned party.
It's like a real picnic.
The PG-13 rating didn't exist until July 1st, 1984. And
Okay.
prior to that, they got away with a lot more. People realized that there was a huge gap between PG and R. If you take a look back at the movie Airplane, which was PG, you'll understand how wide this gap was. The
Yeah,
movie was
definitely.
filled with a lot of adult humor in it, and it even showed some nudity.
Oh, it did,
August
didn't
10th,
it?
Yeah.
I mean, by the way,
1984.
and if you want to check that movie out, we reacted to it on the movie channel. Link in the description to our movie channel. Checked out Airplane, and I only remember that nudity scene because I edited it because we we reacted to that point, and it was just a black bog going across. I was like, I got to make sure YouTube does not see this at all.
Or the action film Red Dawn starring Patrick Swayze and Charlie Sheen became the first ever PG-13 movie to be released in theaters.
Never seen it, but I imagine it's good.
Over the last 40 years, there have been many changes, not just in technology, but in regulations on what we can and cannot do.
Okay.
Most of the younger generations do not realize how many changes have taken place during the 80s and have continued to do so. I hope you enjoyed this little walk down memory lane. Thank you so much for watching.
That's good.
That was good.
Why don't you come up here, Pumpkin?
What are you doing, Larry?
Well, Vince, I've asked my pumpkin to sit on my lap to prove a point.
And what is that, your Larryness?
Even if we fasten our safety belts, even if you hold on tight, even if you were watching the road, in a crash, your pumpkin will be nothing but a squash.
You could learn a lot from a dummy. Use child safety seats.
Wow.
Oh, is that playing if you're holding a child?
Okay, Joey, it's a wrap.
Did you not clock it was...
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, like, yeah, obviously. The fact that we were trying to piece together the pumpkin as well. By the way, we're going to watch these because they seem actually good because it was this old adverts. Definitely added them in just to get 8 minutes.
Okay.
The people, like, do you know what I mean? They've definitely added in, but we'll watch them for the interest of it.
Hi, I'm Joey Lawrence if you need a break. After I'm done here, I get a ride home. But the thing is, I will only get into a car with someone who wears their seatbelt. You see, kids like me usually do what the driver does. If they don't buckle, we don't buckle. Sounds pretty dumb, huh? But it happens, just like accidents. Give a kid a break. Buckle up.
Okay,
Your life and theirs is in your hands.
So they started doing a massive
Child safe roll
full
seatbelt thing.
seatbelt, yeah. Ad. Oh, see the danger to cigarettes, isn't it?
Girl, where you going with that dragon breath? When you walk in a room, nobody cares.
Put it in the face. What?
Dragon lady.
Tell me, baby, why you smoke that trash?
Why, girl?
Everybody
Look over
says
there.
you ain't got no class.
Can't you see
Oh.
what you are? You're a drag.
I can't stand smells cigarettes.
A message for you and
Yeah, I mean, I'm
the
not.
American Cancer Society.
Don't be a dragon lady.
I'm not a fan, but each of their own. If you enjoy it, you enjoy it.
Yeah, I've got nothing against people doing it. I just personally can't stand the smell.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan myself either. But like I say, each of their own. If you enjoy it, you enjoy it. Enjoy that.
Yeah, it was good. Interesting.
P.S. There was adverts at the end of this video. I'm saying that now because there's a lot of music in there. Sometimes it gets blocked. If you haven't seen it, go and check the video out. The link's in the description. There is a couple old school adverts in there. If you have seen it, well, hopefully you enjoyed. Smash the like button, guys. Smash the subscribe button and watch the video.
Have a fantastic day.
And we'll see you, legends, in the next one. Peace.